Calvin, I'll start, I guess, with sort of an order of business that could be coming up for you guys. You've got Aaron Gordon extension eligible starting tomorrow. I'm just curious how you guys are approaching that and if you're confident that you'll be able to get something done with him soon.
Yeah, tomorrow's 9/27 is actually the first day we can formally start negotiations. Hopefully we have some productive talks with his representation and we're able to find a deal that we're both satisfied with. You know, he's been an integral part of what we've done, and I'd like to keep him here for a long time.
Cal, I was curious about the acquisition of Russell Westbrook. In your mind, what does he bring to the team? And also, how much influence did Nikola Jokic's decision to endorse Westbrook coming here affect the transaction?
I'll work backwards here. I think Nikola's done a really good job of letting us do our job. I think him and Russ do have a relationship, and I think he has a respect for his game. But it was a collaborative decision between Josh, Coach Malone, and myself to bring Russell in. We think he's going to bring so much to the table as far as energy, athleticism. Early signs is maybe, he might shoot it a little bit better than people expect him to. Watch him shoot in the gym. It's definitely not going to be something he depends on a lot, but that'll be a great benefit if he can, have some good three-point shooting games. But I think you bring in a first ballot Hall of Famer that's a winner that competes, and I think he's going to push a lot of guys around here.
Calvin, obviously, big order of business this offseason, getting a deal done with Jamal Murray. Just what went into those conversations with him and what ultimately allowed you guys to come to a decision on him?
Well, I think, some things have been made of the amount of time, but I think it's a natural course of negotiations. And we both found a deal that we're satisfied with. And, Jamal's been fantastic for us over the years, and I think he'll continue to do so.
Calvin, I guess when you unpacked last season, what did you see and what kind of went maybe wrong at the end, and how did you address that in the offseason?
Well, I think Coach Malone alluded to it. We've talked a lot with the Rams guys, and repeating is the hardest thing you'll do in sports. It brings on a lot of different pressures and tensions, and I think fatigue, quite frankly, from the start of the season. I don't think the in-season tournament helped that. Brought out a lot of people's competitive spirits, and I think we used a lot of energy in that first part of the season trying to win games. So, but I think it was a great experience for us, and we just have a even greater appreciation of how hard it is to win, both before and after.
Calvin, could you sort of what's your vision, I guess, for what Dario Saric can bring, and how do you kind of hope to see him used, I guess, within different lineups and at different roles, I guess, between center, power forward?
He's just a really good player. He can shoot, he can play make, he can rebound. Defense is probably the biggest question, but he has some smarts and physicality that will help there. And then we have guys like Peyton Watson, who's such a great rim protector, and I think that should help some too. But I think his versatility, I think you can see it. We'll have the ability maybe to rest Nicole a little bit more during the regular season. And I think he can play with or without Nicole, or with or without Aaron Gordon.
Calvin, the announcement today with 9 News, seeing 20 games there over the air for the fans, just what's your reaction to that, how important it is?
Yeah, I mean, I was apprised of the news about an hour or so ago. I haven't really dug into the details of the deal, but I know I'm excited for people to live in the Denver metro area. I know it's been a long time where some people have been locked out of seeing local games, so I'm excited for the opportunity for the whole market to get to watch our games.
Calvin, you guys as a franchise, have always talked about, being a franchise with staying power at a championship level. How important is this year to that, knowing that you guys won one and you guys came up short one year, and this is kind of like the third year, and it could kind of be like a tipping point in that year to what we look back on what this iteration of the Nuggets were?
Yeah, I'd like to look at it. In a best case scenario, I think Nikola has like a a prime 10-year contention window, and if you count the first year of that when Jamal got hurt, I think we're about halfway through it. So we probably have about 5 more single shots, and all those shots count. So we want to try to, if we hit one of them, it's great, you know, and the earlier we hit it, the more we can have other conversations about other things. But it's going to be incredibly hard to win another one.
Clavin, on one hand, you have the new CBA, which obviously hasn't just impacted this team, but a lot of teams around the league. On the other hand, you have the fact that very few free agents are actually hitting the market, and most people are re-signing their key players. How do you kind of navigate between those two priorities going forward with a limited free agent market versus the problems that the second apron presents?
I think it's all-encompassing. I think you know, our guys performing well and winning a lot of games, which, you know, ups their value, so to speak. And I think there's been a lot of conversation about winning or developing. You know, I'm a big fan of Jim Collins, read the book Good to Great, and what we've been trying to accomplish is and, not or. You can win and develop. Like, once you've won, you have an obligation to develop. Oklahoma City's sufficiently developed their team, now they can try to win. So I think we're obligated, in order to be great, to try to do both.
Clavin, obviously, Duran suffers his off-season injury during summer league. Just, I know that you invested a whole bunch of resources into making sure to get him. Just what is his pathway going to look like for this season, and then hopefully to set himself up going forward?
I mean, a whole bunch of resources. I think it depends on how good he ends up being. If he ends up being like a really good player for us, I don't think it'll be that much. If he doesn't work out, it'll be a whole lot of resources. So what remains to be seen. But, you know, he had an unfortunate injury. Good thing he's a young guy. He's had a positive attitude. It happened early enough where we could prepare for it. And it was just disappointing to see him have that injury because, you know, he's playing well, and I thought he was going to be an exciting piece to our puzzle.
Every season you come in with a vision. First year you bring in defenders like KCP, Bruce, Christian, and Peyton. Year 2, more focused on shooting, Julian, Hunter, Jalen. And then this year, kind of what was your focus, or did you take a more like wholesale approach, I guess?
Yeah, I think it was just evaluating our season after the season was over and trying to, you know, think about where we're really at and be really self-aware of that. And I know the bench has always been a consistent theme every year since I've been here, prior to even making the playoffs. So, like, obviously I feel like adding Russ and Dario to our bench and having, I think we have 9 real guys. And then obviously we have, you know, Blocko and Zeke and a couple other young guys. But, like, we have, I think, 9 guys that will be in everybody's rotation in the NBA. So I think if we can stay healthy, I think we're in a pretty good spot.
Callum, with the shooting side of it, you guys were last in volume last season. With the offseason moves that you made, obviously you guys lose not just KCP but Reggie, Justin Holiday. How do you kind of evaluate where you guys are at from a three-point shooting standpoint and how to kind of keep up, I guess, with the large volume that has been the trend in the league for several years, especially with Boston winning it last year?
I think there's 2 aspects to that question. One's more philosophical in nature, and I'll deal with that second. The other one is we are riding a fine line with our shooting. When you have Russell Westbrook and Aaron Gordon and Peyton Watson all in your rotation, I think Christian should be left out of that conversation when he shoots 42.9% above the break last year. So, but like, it is going to be a fine line. It's something we have to monitor. If we need to address our shooting at the trade deadline, we'll do it. We have a couple of young guys in tow. Maybe if we have some injuries or something, maybe they can show they can make shots under pressure. But it's something we definitely need to monitor. I think it's a philosophical question. If you're better than somebody, right? Like Nikola Jokic is better than everybody in the world. Like, why do the same thing they can do and make it random? Like, if we shoot the same number of threes as the worst team in the league, and they make more than us that night, they might beat us. Nikola Jokic should not lose games like that. So I think part of it's part of that equation is the fact that we have the best player in the world, and the way he plays the game and manages the game is in a way where we don't get a lot of three-point shots. I mean, he's the best floater shooter in the league, one of the best mid-range shooters in the league. Michael Porter Jr. shot 55% on mid-range shots last year. So, like, I think it's just it's a more complex conversation than just like we don't have enough shooting and what do we need to do to address it.
Clavin, can you paint a picture for what success would look like for Peyton Watson this season in your mind? And is there one thing in his offensive game that you would like to see him expand or show more of this year?
I think Peyton's a very talented young player. The sky's the limit for the kid, so to speak, but I'd like to see a little bit more mental maturity and professionalism, and I think he's been growing in that manner as we go. But when he's locked in, there was a point stretch in the middle of the year last year where I thought he's absolutely about to take off. And, I think him handling those moments and still working and still staying focused and actually taking that step is probably the thing I'm monitoring the most. On the court, I mean, like, his defensive impact. First year, I think we've been top 10 in defense. Guys shot 50.9% at the rim against him, number one in his position. I think him and Nikola accounted for the 13th best defense by two-man combinations. So, like, I think his defensive impact is just like it's hard to measure. First guy in NBA history, and these thoughts are so innocuous because you can come up with a query and put them together. But I thought this one was pretty interesting. One of you guys probably put it out there, but it was what was it? It was 80 blocks, 40 steals, 43 pointers made in less than 20 minutes. Pretty impressive for a guy like what he averaged at UCLA and was the last pick of the first round.